The discussion surrounding this franchise has shifted as the season enters its final stretch. A team that spent much of the year refining its offensive identity now finds itself navigating a different type of attention, one that speaks to broader league recognition. Veteran fans understand that when an organization stabilizes its roster and produces consistent game plans, other teams begin examining the staff responsible. That shift creates opportunity, but also potential disruption. With several clubs preparing for coaching changes and more movement expected, the question is no longer whether this team is on the league's radar, but how it will manage the consequences that follow. Klint Kubiak is the center of that attention. His work coordinating the offense has positioned him as a candidate in the upcoming head coaching cycle, drawing praise from national analysts and insiders. Kubiak's design emphasizes structure, leverage, and timely adjustments, traits that appeal to front offices seeking stability. The Seahawks have benefited from his sequencing, which supports their quarterback with defined reads and manageable situations. The depth chart around him has responded to this consistency, producing an attack that functions with clarity. That progress has made him a name to watch as vacancies open across the league. Kubiak is 37 and represents the profile owners often pursue, a younger coordinator with a clear offensive identity and experience in multiple systems. His background includes years working under established play callers, and this season has shown he can operate with autonomy. Seattle's offense has improved in red zone efficiency and early down production, evidence of stronger planning and situational awareness. League evaluators view those traits as transferable. As more teams search for leaders capable of installing sustainable systems, Kubiak's current trajectory places him firmly in that conversation. The attention, however, introduces organizational considerations. Coaching continuity plays a significant role in offensive development, especially for teams integrating younger players at skill positions. Losing a coordinator requires adjustments in language, installation rhythm, and personnel usage. Veteran listeners understand that the transition can be smoother when internal successors exist, but it still involves recalibration across staff and roster. For Seattle, much depends on how integrated the offensive playbook is with Kubiak's personal approach versus the broader philosophy shared across the staff. Financially, coaching changes do not affect the cap, but they influence long-term roster strategy. If Kubiak departs, Seattle must consider whether the next coordinator will prefer different receiver types, protection structures, or run game principles. Those preferences shape draft decisions and contract planning. A system built around timing and route precision differs from one emphasizing vertical stress and improvisation. Maintaining offensive continuity supports player development, particularly at quarterback, and front offices account for that stability when evaluating coaching turnover. Seattle's staff performance this season reflects intentional focus on situational football. Third down efficiency, red zone planning, and scripted opening drives have all improved. Analysts often examine these areas when projecting coordinator readiness for head coaching roles. The ability to prepare a unit weekly while adjusting to injuries and opponent tendencies demonstrates leadership beyond play calling. Kubiak's rising profile is tied to these operational strengths, not merely statistical output. Owners and general managers looking to reset culture typically value processes over single-season results. The hiring cycle historically expands quickly. While only a handful of jobs are officially open now, league precedent indicates several more will emerge after the regular season. Seattle has experienced this dynamic before, watching coordinators become sought-after candidates as the team's performance drew league-wide attention. The possibility of staff restructuring requires early planning. Identifying internal succession options or external candidates becomes essential should interviews progress. Continuity does not guarantee success, but its absence can disrupt systems that rely heavily on rhythm and detailed preparation. For Kubiak, the next month serves as both professional opportunity and organizational responsibility. Each game plan becomes part of his resume, with decision-makers evaluating adaptability under pressure. How the offense performs in late-season divisional matchups will influence perceptions of leadership readiness. Owners often look for evidence that a candidate can manage adversity, maintain discipline, and elevate players in meaningful stretches. Seattle's performance in these scenarios will reflect not just talent, but coaching cohesion. Sustainability becomes the broader question. Can Seattle maintain momentum if staff changes occur, or does continuity require strategic investment in coaching development? Veteran fans understand that successful teams often lose assistance as their performance improves, and managing that cycle is part of long-term competitiveness. Whether Kubiak secures interviews or advances deep into the process, the organization must balance honoring his growth with preserving operational stability. For now, the attention signals that Seattle's offensive progress is real and that others around the league recognize its direction.